We're learning in this season of our church's life how the living water of Jesus makes our church to be something like an oasis of life in a dry and thirsty world. And during this season, we're sharing with you in our worship life, particularly during the offering times in our worship, a series of videos that tell stories of our mission partners. These mission partners, you might think of them like rivulets that carry the good news of Jesus and His love from our Oasis community out into the world. And I'm really pleased today to be able to share with you a story about God's Hygiene Help Center, one of our core mission partners. Now, some of you may actually have seen this video before. We've recorded it previously, but we're sharing it with you again today because it does such a great job of telling the story of the vision for this mission and also the story of its founder, Tammy Jewell. Take a look.
Well, I was born really poor, and through my whole life, I've made bad decisions, and it was based around hygiene and dignity and pride, and so I made poor choices and not going to school because I didn't have soap and water, and so I would simply not go to school. It changed my life forever. I kept hearing God say, "Tammy, open a resource center, open a dignity center, give them what you're missing." And I thought, oh my, I better not do that. I'll go broke, and I'm a poor person. And then the Lord instructed me to do it. Well, I kept that to myself, not telling anybody. And one day I asked my brother if he could come over to my next door neighbor's house and give me a hand. And he goes, "Sis, you're always helping everybody. Why don't you just open a help center?" And so I said, "You spoke the words, now build the shelves." I took down the blinds. I never owned curtains in my life. I always lived in the dark. And so I bought curtains and I opened them every morning now. So now I live in the light. And I try to bring people from the streets to Jesus. Working girls, alcoholics, drug addicts, suffering grandmas and suffering fathers. I try to bring them to the light. We have food stores, we have clothes stores, we have furniture stores, but we do not have any dignity stores anywhere. I have the knowledge of who needs what. I've lived through some very hard times. I should not even be alive for this testimony. We were serving about 20 to 30 people. Now we're serving about 150 to 200 a month. And so I'm sharing with others dignity, but most of all, the love of Jesus Christ.
You just heard Tammy share that about a year and a half ago, God's Hygiene Help Center was serving about 150 to 200 families a month. Now in 2020, that number is closer to 500 families a month. And thanks be to God for this growth in His work. When you give your offerings to God through the ministry of UALC, first of all, those gifts are an act of worship to God. We honor God by our giving. Those gifts also support the structures that sustain our life together here in this Oasis community, like this worship service, among many other things. But we also commit to giving the first 20% of those gifts away to mission partners like God's Hygiene Help Center that carry the good news of Jesus and His love out into the world. Thank you for your faithfulness to God and your generosity toward His work.